Hey there. We've made it to another session with
Yes.
the Houstons.
Yes. Excited.
I am excited too. We have such a great opportunity today
Okay.
to talk about the books that you've
All
written.
right.
I am excited. You've written a series of books, um, and that is our topic for today. Just celebrating you and what God has placed in your heart
Yeah.
for this season. As I wrote in one of my Facebook posts, that God has given you the mantle for manhood this year or
Mm-hmm.
this season, however long. It could be
Yes.
longer than a year.
Yeah.
But I am excited to bring this to our audience. But first of all, I want to start with just giving some gratitude,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Amen.
And just being grateful at this moment for knowing that God has placed us here in time and space to do exactly what we're doing, leaving behind all the anxiety of whether we're doing it right, wrong, saying too much, not giving enough,
Mm-hmm.
just being,
Yeah.
and setting aside all of the, maybe the things we didn't do well in past seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Just being grateful that He's allowed us to be here right now. Gratitude is
Yes.
on my heart this afternoon
Amen.
while we're
Amen.
taping this. Just immense gratitude.
I can't think of any better way to do that than in prayer, right? So, Father, I just thank you for this segment and this opportunity.
Yes.
We ask that you consecrate our conversation,
Yes, Lord.
that you anoint it, Lord, so that it is translated to be what any person listening needs in the moment. We are not ignorant of the idea and the fact that men in general are struggling.
Yes.
And so we ask even now that you would strengthen them, strengthen their hearts, prepare their hearts, their minds, prepare their ears that they may hear words that bring life, that strengthen, that edify and build up, that encourage them to their best selves. And I thank you, Lord, that in our conversation today, Lord, you will get the glory out of all that we do and say. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
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 So, as an author,
Okay.
I am so proud of you because I can remember. I'm going to hold up your wonderful book here, your first book,
Yeah.
and literally it was years
It was a labor
of
of love.
of of hearing you talk about God gave me a book. God
Yeah.
gave me a book. And it's called Mail to Man to Mentor. This is the first edition with his wonderful picture on it. Hold it up there
Yeah.
for a second
Uh-huh.
so they can see that you are just as handsome then as you are right now. So when you wrote it, I can remember having that conversation with you. It was almost a mild rebuke, like take the time you need to finish it. Because I'm one of those people, when I hear that you have a passion and you want to do something, I want you to finish it, because the longer it lingers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it may not get done, or it's a constant weight on you,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore it has some effect on your relationships because
Absolutely.
it's not done. So tell me about your process
Yeah.
of getting that, just birthing that first book out.
Well, here's the interesting thing is that, as you alluded to, it took years.
Yes.
And the reason why was not because the books weren't ready to be written. It was because I was not ready to finish.
Right.
And I think it's indicative of the process of many of us as men sometimes,
Right.
is that we can get started, we can be passionate about something, especially those creative types like myself. We get excited about creating something, but finishing it can be a challenge. And so, in as much as the process of finishing this was a part of the process, it's also the process that's laid out in the book. That manhood is a process. It is not something that is automatic, that you have to work at it. There's some things, and we'll talk about those components, but there are things you have to actually do and be intentional about in order to be the man that God has called you to be. And so that process was long suffering for those with me and for myself, because you face your own disappointments. You look at the idea that I didn't finish this. It's been in me. Like there, before this book, there were 2 or 3 other books that I still have in draft form that today haven't come out. So if you see books coming out, it's not because they haven't been written. It's because I'm still in the process of getting them to the table so that there's some completion in them. And these are things that God put in my spirit years ago. And Meld the Men and Mentor is no different. But we were just able to get that out back in 2014 and see God move in the way that he has since then.
Yeah. I'm excited to see you wrote a second edition to it, but what were the main principles? Like if someone got that book, if a man got that book, what are the principles he should walk away with? 2 or 3 of them.
Okay. Inevitably, I want you to understand that being a male, I want to differentiate. A lot of times we hear about males needing to become men. And I've heard that all my life. And so the emphasis is placed on becoming a man. Men who don't even know how to define it from a biblical standpoint in a way that I would say would be the most accurate definition of manhood would even say, I'm a man. It's the biggest boast of manhood that, hey, I'm a man. So I opened up the book, Jackie, and I took some things out of from the first edition and the second edition, just kind of opened up the first words in the book with these words. Being a man is overrated.
Oh my. Okay, I'm listening.
And originally, when you think about that, the first thing men are getting ready to turn me off. They're getting ready to swipe left or swipe right, whatever. They're like, I'm taking away your man cave card, bro, because you selling us out. Not really. What I'm really trying to do is elevate. Because anybody can become a man, but can you reproduce one?
Okay.
And so my goal in that men need to walk away with is that being a man ain't enough. That you have to be able to, at some point after becoming, reproduce what you've become.
Wow.
You know?
Well, isn't that what God commanded all of us
Absolutely.
to do? Have dominion and multiply. It's
Absolutely.
multiplying more than just what's outside of us, but what's inside of us.
Yeah. So not only does God get the glory from you multiplying,
Right.
after you've lived a life pattern after Him, but you get the fulfillment of manhood. That's why men, Jackie, can live many, many years living their lives the way they wanted to live it and realize I'm running out of time and now I got to give back to the next generation. If you talk to any man, I can talk to any man that's come out of prison or any of the places that I've talked with men in different transitional points. And the first, I got to give back. I got to give back. It's innate. So multiplication as you get older is not just a good idea or a great definition. It becomes a necessity because you feel the draw of your success coming from the generations that are pushing you toward being your best self.
So what I'm hearing is 2 principles is identifying yourself as a man.
Yes.
But that's not enough until you can understand what it means to be a man and then be able to reproduce it.
Absolutely.
So identity and reproduction.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 principles. Any other principles?
Well, the other principle is the idea that you can't give up in the fight of becoming who you're supposed to be. You've got to be dedicated to it. You can spend men who do not identify and press through and tend to kind of lay down on the mat of the ring of life, which is a metaphor in the book, but who lay down on the mat, right, and aren't fighting for being their best selves, find themselves playing with, and I'm gonna have to carry you to.
Say it.
I'm gonna have to just carry you, to the prison walls where I was working with my guys because we just told it like it was, right? So they spend their lives playing with their maleness.
I hear you.
Yeah, you hear? Okay, all right.
We have sons.
And they play with the attributes of just being male, and never get the benefit and the joy of what manhood really brings to them. So there's already a fight in us because we're competitive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
By nature, that's a part of our natural component, right? We're generally strong and physically. I dare compare any man that we're not as strong as women. If anytime a woman can have a baby, okay, but we are quite strong in our own right. God built
Yes.
us that way as
Absolutely.
protectors. He made us competitive. That's a part of but that's all maleness. It has nothing to do with manhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you said a lot there because I think when I think of a man, even the way we would draw a man or talk about a man, all of those are like endpoints. Even
Absolutely.
for women, we're like, we want them strong, intelligent. We want them, to be a conqueror and, savvy and not take anything for granted and stand up for us, be secure. But that sounds like just a level
Yeah.
that you're talking about in manhood. What brings him over into the mentorship?
It's
Because it's
responsibility.
male to mentor.
Yeah. You have to take the seed of maleness and plant it in what I call the soil of responsibility. You can, a male cannot become a man apart from responsibility.
Got it.
Because way I define it in the book, which is really interesting, and the unique part is I've tested this in a lot of different circles, and I'm sure we'll get into that as we look at some of the books I've written. But men, we tend to build a game around our maleness.
Okay.
It's called the player. I wish I had some help. See, the players, right, or the playboys, or the Mac Daddies, as many like to call it, tend to play a game. That game is I tend to want the ends of a 9 to 5, but I didn't want to be there from 9 to 5. That's that's the game, right? I want the benefits of shorty. I didn't want to commit to shorty. That's the dodging of responsibility. So I define, before I define manhood, I define what I call carnal manhood,
Okay.
which is the Mac Daddy, the Playboy, which is the idea a man who is smooth enough to dodge responsibility and hard enough to reject accountability. So what you get from a man, what you just described, is he gets bold, he gets defensive. That's strength. That's he appears decisive. He appears all those different things. Part of it is because he wants to keep at bay anybody that wants to hold him accountable. The first time you come to him and you say, "Bro, why y'all up in my business? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" Again, we build that as a defense and we define it as manhood when it's really misguided manhood,
Okay.
right?
You call it carnal manhood.
Carnal manhood, misguided manhood is what I like to call
Okay.
it. It's when we have a manhood that is defined by our societal norms that we've grown accustomed to, all of the athletic prowess or the financial exploits, in the sense that we want to show everybody what we have. It's about the show. It's not so much about what we know or how we apply those things in the aspect. But when we bring it into responsibility,
Okay.
responsibility helps us understand why we have all these attributes. It's a conscious awareness. It's a mature man. It's a man who can see something beyond just himself, but he can see those around him. He can understand how others, a wife, children, how his community, how the world even fits into his life, and how he is supposed to influence that for the sake of multiplication ultimately when we get to that.
So we go from maleness, because I read the book. We go from maleness, which men are born with, right?
Can't do nothing for it. It's a freebie.
It's a freebie. Maleness is a freebie. You're not born a woman, you're born a man, right? And then when we get to being man to male to man, so being a man to accomplish that goal, that part of it is to be accountable and responsible,
Yes.
right? Or can you get stuck there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Responsibility is weighty enough to cause you to spend your whole time trying to figure it out, your whole lifetime trying to figure
Wow.
it out. And some men are, and because of the competitive nature of us, many of us can get just so we can get so ingrained with even responsibility that again we still have selfish focus and selfish, like you can still master responsibility, but if it never gives you the conscious awareness of why you exist in community and in
Which
the
is
life,
accountability.
which is the accountability part
Yeah.
with others, then it's not full man. It's just
Wow.
it's in process.
It's just manhood. So being a mentor, how do you know? How does a man know when he gets to that point, or even striving, or being pulled to? I need to be a mentor.
Uh, One, you understand your own struggle. One, you realize that um, if it was this difficult
Wow.
for me to understand me, how much more difficult is it for someone just starting out? And can I really help individuals who are starting out learn much sooner than I did without having to make the mistakes I made, without having to, what I call in the book, guess their way through life, right? We were meant to look and peer into the mirror of God, which is an imagery in the book that I utilize. The mirror of God.
Yeah.
God tells me who I am. So when I look in the mirror of God, I can see if my tie is crooked. I can see if I had hair. I can see if things are out of place because I'm looking into a clear mirror. Mm-hmm. I believe that when men fail to look into the mirror of God, Jackie, they're looking at a mirror, at a reflectionless mirror. They have nothing. And so what you're doing is you're guessing your way.
Wow.
And most men struggle because they spend their time 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years even guessing their way through life.
Yeah.
When God gave them clear direction, gave them clear access to much wisdom and knowledge and understanding that could make the process, that can expedite,
Yeah.
if you will, the process of becoming who they're supposed to become.
Right.
When you do that, you then can get to mentorship.
Right.
Right? He even wrote it, and this is one of the things I reveal in the book. He even wrote for all of the those who would believe in him, the Great Commission, which would be make what?
Disciple.
Disciples.
Yeah.
I call in the book discipleship synonymous with mentorship.
Yeah.
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 So finding God is the first role of finding manhood.
Yeah.
That if I can find
True
God,
manhood,
true
right?
manhood,
Yeah.
absolutely. You can find something out there.
Yeah.
There are plenty of definitions.
Yeah.
And many men
And
are,
examples, right?
exactly. And many men are living their lives according to those examples.
Right.
And again, I'm talking to the Christian man. I'm talking to the
Yeah.
man who says God is my source, that God is my model, that God is my inspiration for who I become in
Right.
life. That's who I'm talking to. I'm not trying to be the Mac Daddy, trying to instruct other Mac Daddies how to play the game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach men how to follow the Bible and understand how it reveals who they are, so they can have peace and they can have later fulfillment in life because they multiplied who they've become.
Yes, I think what you're saying is so needed for right now. As I do therapy, I do a lot of couples counseling, and I have found that in both parties, the woman and the male, is that they only go as far as their examples.
Yes.
And if there's no new information,
Come on.
even if they have a desire for something different, if they're not seeking wisdom
Yeah.
in a place that is solid, and the Bible is solid about what's best for mankind.
Come on.
If you do these steps,
Yes.
you will have success.
Yes.
right? So where you're coming from is you put it in a book for men who have that desire. You may have had success, and I don't want to, I am going to rev your book up. If you've had success, but you still feel you're falling short of purpose, of what your wife is asking for, what your children are asking for. You need some wisdom. And I think your book is right on time for them. There is a time where you switch over from just maintaining manhood to understanding I was born for a purpose.
Absolutely.
And it goes beyond me into mentorship. I'm excited about your book.
Yeah.
Both of them both books are probably pivotal for any man, even when they're young, to understand, hey, I was born a male. I don't have to stand there in that space. And as I become a man, there's more for me to do. And I'm excited for you about that. Now, you wrote another book
Okay.
for single mothers. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'm excited about it. So it's the male to man to mentor for single mothers. What made you write this book?
Yeah.
If you want to hold it so they can see it.
That's been a question for a number of people have asked me that because they're curious. Why are you reaching out? You ain't never been a mother. Okay. And I admit that my wife has been an outstanding example of motherhood. But what I have learned is that if the intent is to ensure that we can get the message of and the true definition of manhood to males sooner,
Okay.
then we cannot leave those individuals, those young males being raised by single mothers with the absence of a father in the home. We can't leave them alone. We have to be able to find a way to get them the information that they need. Well, when you're dealing with adolescents or you're dealing with young children, you don't just go directly to them. They're not going to read Male to Man to Mentor. Okay? But the way to best help them are with those who come alongside of them to help them develop. And so I've come along with this idea of Male to Man to Mentor for single mothers because I'm like, listen, mothers are struggling. You and I have raised 4 adult children, okay? 2 of which were males.
Yes.
All right, my 2 sons.
Yes.
And if me being a man, married with a wife, are struggling to ensure, not struggling in the sense of not being able to accomplish it, but feel the weight
Absolutely.
of the responsibility
Absolutely.
of raising these 2 young boys, which are different from raising the daughters.
Yes.
In every sense of the word, okay? If we are feeling that pressure, if we're feeling that weight, if we're course correcting along the way, trying to better it, then how much more difficult is that without a male presence? And let me just say this, Jackie, because I think it's important to understand, because the first thing I had to do, I make a statement in both Male to Man to Mentor, the original first and second edition, that I also make in Male to Man to Mentor for single mothers. And that statement is, mothers, you can be and do the best for a son that you can do. But you cannot be a man for your son.
Correct.
And no matter how successful a woman is in her being there for and doing and teaching and training young males in their presence, it does not forsake or get rid of the idea that that young man is going to seek out examples
Absolutely.
that look like him.
Absolutely.
Right.
As in psychology, the same-sex parent has the most impact on a child. So not having a father in the home has the most impact on a child.
And statistics show that as well.
Absolutely. And if a mother, and I'm talking to, I raised two boys, okay? And if a mother has to instruct them as to what a male is, she's only coming from what she wants or does not want in a man. And how developed is that? We don't know. And she's doing the very best she can, but the fact that she's a single mother may have some bias in how she's raising that child. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the biases are may be there. I'm going to go a step further and say they are there.
Okay.
And I'm going to use a principle from the book itself to bring that point home. One can only do what one knows to do.
Correct.
Okay. I have a model in the book called the IOD model, the information, operation, destination.
Yes.
Information is what you know, operation is what you do, destination is where you end up. It's not an ending point, it's a beginning point. It's your quality of life. It's where you live out the quality of your life, right? So information is your information bank. Formal education, social conditioning, all those different components feed into your information bank. You can't operate out of someone else's information bank. You just can't do it. You only can reach into the bag that you have.
Right.
Right. I use the example oftentimes that in the refrigerator, I like to have my Pepsi every now and then. Right. If there's no Pepsi in there, when I open up the door, I can't pull Pepsi out. It's the same thing with information. It doesn't mean that we can't put it in there. It just means it's not there for me to benefit from yet.
Right.
And what happens when we are training from a male or female, when we're training others, we're dipping into what we know.
Right.
So those biases are innate. They're just by default a part of what influences how you do what you do.
Right.
And so many women are successful in raising sons. We have some tremendous professional men who have been raised solely by a single mother. So I'm not in that argument. I'm not getting in trouble with y'all on social media, okay? But what I am saying is that we have to be at least honest with ourselves that our biases, our conditioning, what we know does pose a limitation, okay, to the capacity of what experience we can shape for someone.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the Bible, it says that God will be a father to the fatherless.
Yes.
And a mother to the mother.
Yes.
He is there.
Come on.
And when he says he's there, it's through our hands,
yes.
Through our feet. We're the body of Christ. We are the kingdom that fills in the gaps. Where it needs to be filled in. And that's why it's important that other men get to mentorship.
Absolutely.
So that they know I am that gap filler.
Yeah.
I see this young man, this mother who has a young man who needs a gap filled because there isn't an example. So I think both of those books go hand in hand. If we can get the men to come all the way through their process to mentorship, and then we have sons without fathers, they won't be without an example or a mentor.
Absolutely.
So I'm so excited about your book.
Yeah.
Who would benefit from your book?
Well, anyone.
Okay.
Okay. Men touch every segment of our society. Everyone is impacted by men. The more you understand manhood, the better you'll interact with men. In the Male to Man Mentor for Single Mothers, one of the things I do specifically and was very intentional about was helping mothers interpret the what a young son says or doesn't say. You know, when he's withdrawn, he might mean this. I have an entire chart in the book. When he's angry and he has these outbursts, it might mean this. You know what I'm saying?
That's great.
There are very tangible tools in the book that mothers can utilize, and I'm literally talking to mothers in the book.
Yes.
I'm saying I'm edifying, I'm building mothers up, I'm encouraging them, right? Mothers, you're not just, let me just say this to the camera. Moms, you are not just raising a son, you're raising a legacy.
Yes.
Okay? That's one of the most important components.
Sons are seed bearers,
Come on, absolutely.
right? Yeah. So that multiplication can and will come through them.
Yeah, and they will multiply something.
Yes.
So the influences in their lives are going to help steer, guide, influence, if you will, what they end up multiplying in their life. Because they will,
Absolutely.
just like women will
incubate and yes, nurture something.
Nurture, reproduce.
We will.
Come on, you will do it. And it doesn't matter on whatever side it is, those things are innately built in. And whether you have natural children or not, you're birthing something, you're incubating something, you're cultivating something
right.
In your life. And so I know that anyone can benefit from this book in that capacity.
I want to stay on the single mothers for a minute. I wasn't a single mother at all. You were there for my.
Hallelujah.
You were always there. But with your long hours, sometimes it felt like I had to do a little double duty.
Absolutely.
You were working long hours in the prison system, and once he goes in prison, you don't really talk to people who go in prison. Yeah. I know it sounds like he was in there for something other than, but he was working there. But then, they can't have a phone. So you have to call the front desk, and it's a process of getting you on the phone. So I knew it wasn't something I could just, hey, pick up the phone. So I had to come up with strategies to deal with it. But in raising two male sons, I will say, and single mothers, I'm right there with you. They require more attention in the beginning stages than most little girls. Mm-hmm. And I think that is where we have to catch it. Mm-hmm. We have to catch the understanding. If we go too far with the nurturing and not teaching them responsibility, that's where some of this, when they get to manhood, that responsibility gets off track, or it's never been on track because someone has always been there doing it for them, or excusing things that they could understand, but we don't have the patience for. And as we all know, men tend to develop much later than women. So
we are late developers,
right? So if you're a single mother and you have a job or two, other children, you have your own business, you have children. I'm not just, we're talking about male children, but any children. Sometimes that deeper nurturance and understanding of what stage they're in and how to get them through the stages and how to give them more responsibility or teach more teaching. Sometimes we don't have the time to do it, and we can right, and we can look back and say, man, I probably didn't do that well. But whenever you get a chance, you can come back.
Yeah.
And start influencing how you're doing it now. So I think this book is not just for, oh man, I missed out. He's going to graduate in May. No, get the book.
Yeah.
There are things you can start now. I can remember for both of our sons, before they were going to leave that house, our house, they were going to know how to wash their clothes, clean their room, clean a bathroom.
Absolutely.
And know how to at least socialize appropriately. Yeah. That was our goal. Like, they need to know these basic things. Not that they did it perfectly, not that they did it every day, but the skill was in there for them. The other thing that I feel as a mother, we may have a little more patience in doing, is teaching them how to express themselves. And we have to be patient enough. And it'll show in our marriages too, whether we're doing that. Because it's
Absolutely.
not just a skill we use on our children. And
You
if
better
it
say it.
is, you need to use that skill for one of the bigger relationships also. But being patient enough to hear, use active listening, hear what they're actually saying. And I think your book has that section in it. If I'm not hearing them talk, but I'm seeing behavior, it is communicating. So what is it communicating to me? If I don't know, I need to find a space within me, the capacity within me to press in and say, what does this mean to you? And be patient enough. It may take a day or two. Teenagers don't have words.
Yeah.
You know, it takes them a while to understand you're not coming at them, but you're consistently concerned.
Yeah.
Consistently concerned. I can remember our kids would just stay in their room. And you're like, is something wrong with them? But even in that time, the processing is taking place, even in their alone time. And above all, prayer in your home.
Absolutely. And routine.
Routine, prayer, and structure.
Absolutely.
There has to be something they can guarantee is happening. That if they come out the door, even after a blow up, you're going to greet them with love in an expressed
Absolutely.
way.
And they expect it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me talk a little bit about the bandwidth of a mother.
Okay.
Whether like in our case, you were home with our children a lot on the weekend because of how my job was structured. But one of the things that has to happen at some point, mothers, is you have to begin trusting influence of other men and inserting that. Now, let me just
Yeah.
there's a lot to talk about
Yeah.
there, okay? But you have to start entrusting that and understanding the need that a son has to have models that look like him. Okay? So with that being said, church is one of those places.
It's one.
Okay? It's one. And I'll talk about some cautions in there, and I even put it in the book very strongly. But if God says, I'm a father to the fatherless and a mother, how is that carried out? It's carried out through the vehicle of his body,
Yes.
right? So we are his hands, we are his mouth, we are the wisdom, we express his wisdom, right? We show forth his love.
Absolutely.
So if the body of believers is doing that in any congregation or connection of believers that you're a part of, then there should be male examples there, and you should be able to trust them interchangeably,
Right.
not exclusively.
Yes.
Hello. What I mean by that is too often we default in what the child needs and misinterpret it for what we need.
Tell me what you mean.
Yeah. Mothers can, in trying to find a mentor for the son, Lord help us, can default to having an intimate relationship with the mentor. Why? He's doing fatherly things. He's doing, responsible things. He's showing forth it's attractive,
It is.
right? So, but you have to be aware, and I give you that warning in the book. Be aware not to default to intimacy when the goal is mentorship, right?
Absolutely.
And then when you're choosing mentors, and I say interchangeably from the standpoint is you don't have to have one person.
Right.
It may be an uncle. It may be a grandfather. It may be both of those. It may be grandfather, uncle, coach. Interchangeably, there are influences that he can draw from, that he can learn from. Just ensure that you vet those influences. But reality is there should be no one male influence. He's not getting one influence from the TV. He's not getting one influence from
His
school.
father. I mean,
Yeah.
even if with our sons, They had many. They have
Absolutely.
uncles. They had grandfathers. They had
Coaches and
teachers and
teachers
coaches, and
yeah.
they had a lot of people around them. And what I know I did as a mother is to point out the good, and that influenced who they were looking at. So I want to talk about a few of them,
Yeah.
maybe. Of course, you were a dynamite father, provider. You loved on me, and they saw what a husband was or is even now. We had.
And they can't stand it.
They love it. They love
but they
it.
can't
Oh,
stand
they
it.
love it.
Because I believe in outward shows of affection. Hello,
Yes,
somebody.
yes.
When
They
I'm
hide
married,
their face,
I
but
have the ring,
but
okay?
they're still looking.
I have the ring. I put my ring up.
But we've had many pastors that we've sat under their ministry, and there were things about each one of them that was different,
Yes.
but it was outstanding.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
things that were outstanding. So after church, we would talk about what went on at church.
Absolutely.
And they would talk about who talked to them and who said nice things about them. And that was the encouragement of, I know who's influenced. That's the hearing. I know who's influencing you, and I will challenge what doesn't sound right, but I will affirm what does sound right.
Absolutely.
And if mothers, single mothers, even fathers, if you hear your children being influenced in the way they'll talk about it.
Yeah.
They'll emulate it. And that gives you a chance not to come down and correct it hard, but either discourage, hey, or a question. How did that make you feel?
Yes.
Start a conversation or affirm, wow, that's what I've been telling you. You're a great athlete.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone noticed that.
Yeah.
So we can have that influence. They are not a blank slate that they don't know what's coming in and out.
Yeah.
So give them credit for that.
Absolutely.
Work on their maturation together with them in the stages they're in. And they'll tell you, as we told our children, we'll know when you're ready for the next stage, because you'll show us responsibility
Absolutely.
for that stage.
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't, you receive that responsibility and you don't handle it well, we'll take it back for a while.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean you won't get it back.
Absolutely. So what you just demonstrated is some of the prompting that happens
Very
in the book.
good.
It's not a very long book. Okay. It's just under 100 pages long in the book. But I do enough prompting in the
Great.
book that teaches mothers that suggests for mothers how they might respond
Right.
to guide their males along the process
Yes.
to manhood and then to mentorship. Even when he's at a young age, you can teach mentorship qualities. In other words, what you're
Absolutely.
teaching is leadership.
Absolutely.
What you're doing is teaching them how to be conscious and aware of others, right? So in the book, we point that out. We make sure that we prompt. And then the good thing about both the second, third, and fourth book here is all of them have workbooks.
Yes, I was going to say, you added that
Yeah.
to your second edition and all preceding books. What made you do that? What was the thought behind that?
Well, I wanted to create opportunity for group discussion. Like what I found with M2M2M in the original book is men got value out of my workshops. They got value out of the teachings that when we came together in our man cave workshop behind prison walls. It was a stellar turnout. Interaction was off the chain.
Even at Bridge of Life, when you would do
when
that,
we did
it
that Bridge of
was
Life.
wonderful.
But it was, men love the interaction. And so when you have questions that can engage men around the conversation and dialogue, what you're doing is mentoring.
Yes.
You're facilitating discussion. So I use the workbooks as a means to also model and create a framework, if you will, for mentorship.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's go to your next book.
Okay.
So you have the Mail to Man to Mentor for Returning Citizens. And I know this is near
You know, it's in
and
my
dear
heart.
to your heart.
Absolutely.
Having spent 22 years behind prison walls in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, you, when you took on that job, I will say I saw your purpose come to life.
Amen.
I saw that working with men was indeed what God intended for your life. Even the development of yourself through working in that kind of a structured environment to lead people. You became a supervisor there to take on that responsibility, that level of accountability, and then to reproduce it in men that were behind bars that probably had some of the toughest upbringings,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
And that's just a wide open statement because some may not have had,
Yeah, a
but
number
made
didn't.
choices that may have veered them or did veer them into an arena where they could see themselves as less than a failure. Tell me, what does this mean to you writing a book to returning citizens?
Well, first of all, it's a nod to the men inside our system,
Yeah.
our carceral environment, who took the time to share their stories.
Wow. Yes.
Seriously, with me.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I want, you talked about takeaways, I want men to understand you're always teachable. If I am a mentor, I learn to value the opportunities that can also mentor me.
Wow. I love that.
And working behind prison walls for 21, I got credit for 22 years.
Yes, you did.
For the federal service. But I also, Jackie, prior to that, my work in a carceral environment started with juveniles.
Yes, it did.
In the state of North Carolina, I worked with the Department of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention.
C.A. Dillon.
C.A. Dillon, there you go, right there in Butner. And so I had the opportunity to see it from both the young people's standpoint and then at the adult level, and then my own journey. So really going into the prison setting was its own soil of responsibility
Absolutely.
that brought out my own maturation. So while I was in development, the responsibility of working behind prison walls and working with men helped produce what were the content for my first book, because those were the sermons. Every Sunday, and throughout the week, I'm preaching or I'm teaching or I'm mentoring men.
Right.
And so the book, the whole concept of Mel the Man the Mentor, was really pushed out by being planted in the soil of the federal prison system.
Yeah.
As an employee.
Yeah.
So when you're planted, let me just say this.
Yeah.
When you're planted, take an opportunity to ask God why you're planted there.
Right.
Right? What is this responsibility I have in my hand supposed to produce?
Right.
And I fortunately was able to ask those questions and allow God to order my steps along my journey, so that by the time we got to the point of writing another book in the series, I said, I have to, now that I'm retired from federal government service, I now have to give back to that same, I have to see them through the process,
Wow.
So,
For returning citizens, what are the principles you're trying to give them? Is it while they're still there? Or is it after? I know it says returning citizens. Would it benefit someone who's still behind the walls? And what are you trying to tell the men that are coming back into society?
well, one of the key components is I had to distinguish with this book whether or not I would focus on resources and the
Right.
process, or whether I would focus on the internal process. And the Lord showed me that this book needed to focus on the internal process, which would make it timeless.
Okay.
Resources will change. Infrastructure for reentry will change
Yeah.
over time. One thing that will never change will be what a man will have to go through, or what any returning citizen really would have to go through to come from prison back home again. And so I focus there. The thing that comes out the most, and the message that I'm trying to get across initially, is I hit hard the place of identity.
Okay.
Okay. I talk about the masks that men wear. Oftentimes, the mask inside of prison walls is meant to protect.
Yes.
But if you carry that same mask on the outside, it'll suffocate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The very thing that you can use for your protection inside the walls oftentimes is the very thing that keeps you from your development outside the walls. And so a man can start reading this book while inside to prepare himself for reentry from day one. They don't have to wait until you understand the process. What you learn in this book will help you inside know how to deal with inside.
Right.
But it will also then have you in a routine of understanding
Right.
who you are from an identity standpoint, understanding your responsibility and how to
Right.
embrace that. I would teach men, Jackie, when I was working behind the walls, I would teach men how to take their counselor, their chaplain, their warden, their associate warden, their officers, and use them as their dream team.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, what's your perspective on this? Or they're out to get me. They're not out to get you. Can you take what they're giving you, whatever form it comes in, and use it to your benefit?
Wow.
You know?
Like iron sharpening iron, right?
Absolutely.
They're there for a purpose. You're here for a purpose. How can you make the purpose work for you?
Yeah. There's something that's very interesting. If you've ever been inside of a prison cell, they have these dull mirrors. I talk about this in the book. They have these dull mirrors that they have up on the. You can't. They ain't worth a hoot. You can't see worth nothing in these mirrors. It's unclear. It's just not.
Wow.
It's not very. They're polished kind of things that just aren't very effective. But you got something to look at.
You got something.
Something to look at.
Okay.
So that in Melton and the Mentor for Returning Citizens is a parallel to what I talk about in the original books, first and second edition, is the idea of looking in the mirror.
Right.
What do you see?
What do you see?
Yeah. And for a lot of men, they put the mask on because their idea of what they're
Right.
seeing in the mirror
Right.
is distorted. So
Right.
they don't like what they're seeing, so they put a mask on of what they want people to see.
Right. And in the Bible, it talks about we look into a glass
Come
dimly.
on. Yes.
Right. Another part of the Bible says, how can one look into a mirror and see it and then go away as if he has not
Have
seen
not
it?
seen it. Yeah.
Right. And it's that trying to get us to see the inward parts of us and knowing that God already knows.
Yeah.
And he's not scared of that.
Yeah.
And how do you encourage men coming out from the walls to help them know that freedom is freedom and not just another cell that they're managing?
Yeah. Well, one of the first things I have to do in the book, and I define it this way, is I have to help them understand they are your past can explain you, it can't define you.
Right. I love that.
It can explain where you've been, what you've been through,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it is not sufficient. It doesn't have the qualifications to define who you are.
Right.
Freedom is not looking back at the past and being paralyzed by what you see. Freedom is the ability to be able to use your past, having been redeemed, come on, having been rehabilitated in the sense
Reconciled.
reconciled, great word, reconciled in the sense of having done whatever time you need. I've paid my debt, okay? I'm now what? Free. Walking out the gates gives you physical freedom.
Okay.
Walking out the gates does not mean your mind has been set free.
Right.
I believe the children of Israel um, demonstrated this the best when they came out of Egypt,
Yes.
right? They were in freedom, but still had the mindset of slaves,
Yes.
right? So that is the plight of many men who return back to prison, because I use a quote in the book, and I give him credit for it. But Bishop Michael Pitts said these words. He said, "It is easier. Poverty is easier to manage
Yes.
than freedom."
Yes.
I'm sorry. Poverty. Yeah, poverty is easier to manage than riches, and bondage is easier to manage
The
than
freedom. Yes.
Yeah, so that was the correct way. Meaning, when you're managing
Little.
little,
Yeah.
little control,
Yeah.
okay, little access, when you're managing, it's easier to manage that.
It's more frustration.
Yeah. It has its nuances, right? Its dynamics, but it's much easier to manage than freedom.
Right.
Freedom, you've got the freedom to do and go back anywhere that's familiar. I use this quote also from A.R. Bernard. A man without a future can only resort to his past. In other words, the easiest thing for you to pick up is your past.
Right.
What did Peter say after Jesus had died on the cross? After he had been called to be a fisher of men, he didn't see a hope for his future. He said, "You know what?
I'm going back."
Going back fishing."
Yeah.
What was he reaching back for? His past. It's the easiest thing to reach back for, right?
Right.
So I'm trying to get across in the book the understanding that though reaching back for your past is the easiest, it is not going to get you to the point of fulfillment, which is that you are a man who has been redeemed,
Yes.
who has been reconciled to society, and now has the potential to reproduce, other overcoming men.
Right.
And even prevent individuals from following in the same pattern if you can ascend beyond just the ability to manage what is
Little.
in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've been given, and I do couples therapy with quite a few returning citizens and their spouses. And what I find is it's hard to recognize freedom within lots of responsibility.
Okay, talk about that for a minute.
They realize, and this is just my experience, so you can jump in and tell me where it may fit for you in your book, but their gratitude is that they're out. But the demand of freedom, managing freedom, can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
And not that they want to give up the benefits that come with being free, having a home, having a spouse, having children. But because they've managed little, maybe just themselves, for years, they just
there's
managed
comfort in that.
themselves, or
There's
maybe a
comfort in that.
job or something within. And they had someone else had the structure. Now they're required to get some structure,
Absolutely.
and a lot of them, and I love their work ethic. When they come out, they're willing to go to work. But work is the easier part, as we talked about from manhood, is whatever they were taught a man is. They go back to that also, but then their spouse may be looking for more.
Not maybe.
They are. They are. And
Absolutely.
also, the conversations have been about more. Can we talk about that? When you're incarcerated, you have a lot of time to talk, a lot of time to think, a lot of time to plan
And develop ideas.
and have
strategies,
ideas
yeah.
and know what you're going to do when you get out, and you share them with the ones you love.
But then you
That
got to
doesn't mean you
implement it.
have a plan of execution.
Or the skill set sometimes.
Right. And
Yeah.
and it takes time. And I want to encourage any returning citizen, male or female, when you're promising or thinking of promising a bigger, better life, while you have time for your self-development,
Yeah.
develop yourself into that.
Yes. Yes.
You're provided education
Come on.
there.
Come on.
You're provided
Make it your dream
libraries
team.
there.
Absolutely.
The dream team is there.
Come on.
If you know mental health, anger, depression, all of that has been something that has caused you to be where you are. They provide, whether they're the best at it or not,
Yeah.
they're free of charge for you to go there and say, I'm going to get what you can give me.
Yeah. And,
So I can be better and ready for what I'm promising
Yeah.
to be on the outside.
let me add to that, Jackie, because I think you make a great point. Even while doing that, it's also a way to remain connected
Yeah.
as much as you can. I think that you have to while as I encouraged men who had been in it for some time, remain connected. You might can't be there physically, but can you walk through the story of the experience? You're teaching sons and daughters how to describe in detail
Wow.
what they went through when they went to that camp that they went to, and they had the
Their
birthday
dance,
party.
yeah.
Yeah. And engage. Go into the creative part, if you will, of, you know what, if I was there with you, we would have did such and such, and this and that. These are some of the things that I would have liked to have done. Oh, I would have loved to have had I mean, go there. Maximize what you do have in your hand if you're incarcerated, especially as you begin to get ready to return back home. Begin to look at what that might be like, and get some real input from individuals, your counselors, some of the other people. How do you do such and such? How do you manage such? Don't act as though you know all of it.
Right.
There are men who are. I used to tell my fellow colleagues who were correctional officers behind the walls. I said, don't check who you are at the metal detector.
Right.
You're more than just an officer.
Right.
You're more than just a warden. You're more than just a chaplain even. I'm a father. I'm a leader in my community. I'm this, maybe a deacon or a pastor at the church. I mean, you're more than that. You may be a caregiver, right? Those are qualities that when mentoring are not, should not be compartmentalized, but should not be left out of your job description, no matter what job
Right.
you're on. In other words, you should always be in tune with what you bring to it that was never enwritten, because that's who you are, and that's the value you add to whatever you're serving.
And I like this line of conversation because the more I think about how returning back into society can affect you, it's also important that if you learn how to embrace help, you'll also embrace help once you get out.
It's a skill.
And you're not
Yeah.
going to think that your wife, your husband, your children will answer all of those needs.
Absolutely.
And that's impossible.
Absolutely.
That's an unrealistic expectation. But if you learn how to receive help properly, when help is everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you are a citizen even behind the walls, and they have to treat you as such. And if you learn how to maneuver in that society that, oh, this is available to me and this is what this is supposed to do. This is what a chaplain's supposed to do for me. Let me see how I can benefit from that. You'll know what a pastor should do.
Absolutely.
You have psychologists, you have counselors, you have your social workers. Oh, these are people who are connected to my community in a way where I can get the help mentally or socially. Okay, if I use them if they use them behind walls, they'll use them on the outside.
Absolutely.
So I even encourage those that love people and are the support system for people who are now behind walls, and this book can help, is tell them to use every resource
Yes.
so they understand how to use it on the outside, and maybe even be a leader for that family to employ
Yes.
some of these professions that they would have to pay for,
Absolutely.
right? But if they already know how to use them, they'll know how to find them
Absolutely.
and what their worth is.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good, babe. I want to just kind of, as we kind of wrap up this portion of the discussion, is I want to just encourage the idea that we all need the help,
Absolutely.
and there are people who are willing to help, but we have to be teachable,
Right.
and these books are for the teachable. These books are for the man who's willing to admit, which even when I read my book, it's reinforcing things that
Absolutely.
I need to, you know what, I didn't implement that. I need to implement that in my life. I should be doing that. I'm forever learning,
Yes,
right? All truth is God's truth.
it is.
If we're going to receive help, the first place we need help from is from God.
Right.
Learn that help is ever present, right? In fact, the Spirit of God is considered a helper.
An ever present help in our
Yeah,
time
in
of
time
trouble.
of trouble.
Yeah.
He's our counselor,
Yes.
right? He is the power and the authority behind our ability to become,
Yeah.
right?
He is the creator. So he
Absolutely.
never stops creating in
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
And I am so excited as we wrap this segment up on your books. And
Yeah.
I am proud of you. I
Thank you,
want you
babe.
to know I am very proud of you. And
Thank you very
I-
much.
all of what you have written is timely. It is for now. I want men to look forward to our Chris's fall gathering.
Yes.
It may be online, it may be in person, or it may be both. I don't want you to miss it. If you look at one of our previous sessions, we'll have more dates coming up, but everything we're talking about, even if you're a woman, you know how vital it is for
Yeah.
a man to find himself and then to grow, and it lightens our load.
You better know
It gives us
it.
it gives us a place to lay our heart.
It feeds your
And
security, every element
absolutely.
of it.
So who needs this book?
Everybody.
Everybody needs this book. And we're excited. How would you like people to find your book?
All right. So what I'm pushing, this was the first edition of Male to Man the Mentor. It doesn't have the workbook component. Still is a good book. It's $15 on Amazon. One of the things that I like to push is predominantly the second edition of the book. All of these are $20 a piece with the workbook included. Okay. So you can go to Amazon.com, or you can go to my personal book page, which is books.by/Christopher M. Houston. But on Amazon, also you can read a sample of the book. Here's why this is important. Because if you get these books, you can give it to a friend, you can give it to a husband, a son, ladies, men. You can start a men's group. You can do some of the things that cultivate the knowing and becoming of manhood in these books. It's great for your churches. It's great for your after school programs. I have worked in the corporate setting, the government agency setting for many years. And I've learned to take what I call biblical principles and make them principles that are accessible to anyone of any background. And so you'll find a lot of that woven in through each of this. You can use this in any area or arena of your life. So I want you to go and get the book. For my returning citizens, I want you to understand that if you go to your will or you are well online, You can also register to become a part of our support group. I have a monthly subscription there where we have a monthly gathering, and I'm able to talk with you through things and give you some guidance and give you some resources, different things of that nature to kind of support and undergird some of my work now that I'm retired and I'm working with agencies. If you're a church, you have a prison ministry, okay, or you have a reentry program, anything of that nature, or you just have individuals who are in your church and you have families that are impacted by crime and incarceration, you can connect with me. I provide consultation, provide guidance to churches. I can teach you how to develop your prison ministry. I can tell you what some of the changes and some of the trends and norms are right now. I can also tell you where some of the other elements are with regards to your reentry program. If you want to develop a program for returning citizens, I can bring those things to bear for you. Okay? So I encourage you to reach out. I encourage you to make that something that you are willing to do. Okay?
That is so excellent, because definitely going to Amazon, going to your book site will have that up for you, so you can get a QR code or make it a little easier. But I love the group you're having at YOURWELL.online, and that you could subscribe. So you will be with a ongoing community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can invite others. You can have your wife there so she can hear, or he can hear, what is the norm. Because sometimes we are frustrated because we think it's not normal what's going on, but there's a lot of normalities that we just have to work through for different ages, stages, situations in our lives. So communities are the way where we can normalize things, but also get the help and strength we need to make the impact and the change.
And we've got the coaching.
Yes.
Yeah, so I provide coaching, life coaching, in addition to my wife provides life coaching. So I encourage you to make sure that you go to yourwell.online. If you want to know more about some of what we're doing on my for-profit side, which is Straight Path Solutions, it's the number 8 pathsolutions.com. You can go there, and I'm providing consultation to state and federal government agencies who may want some support in the area of maybe reviewing policies or different things of that nature to help ensure that we're accommodating the faith-based component of what men and women are doing behind these walls. Man, I'm really excited.
Yeah, we have so many things going on, but this is the time to really celebrate you,
Thank you, baby.
with your books, and we look forward to seeing you next time as the Houstons talk more about what God is doing in His kingdom. So we bless you, and we thank you, Chris, for being who you are and becoming that mentor that really guides men through this season. So
remember, you
are
are
well.
well.